The fat is a horrible, horrible golf shot. We hit the ground before the golf ball and we often duff the ball not very far. It's really, really unsatisfying. Now, in terms of impact conditions, we usually see two things with golfers that fat the golf ball. We see a golfer that's too shallow and then a golfer that's too steep. So let's talk about each individual golfer and if it applies to you. So firstly, let's talk about the golfer that's too shallow that fats the golf ball. Now this type of golfer will see a very shallow divot before the golf ball. And often this is caused by golfers that try and help the golf ball up in the air. So you can see here, my weight's very much on my right side. This club's going to come in very, very shallow before the golf ball, and we're almost trying to scoop the golf ball up in the air. So if you are this golfer that's too shallow, you'll often see very thin divots before the golf ball, and usually it's just because we're not getting that weight early enough to that left side and getting that steeper angle of attack where we hit the golf ball and then take a divot a couple of inches after. That's one way that a lot of golfers fat the golf ball. Now let's look at a golfer who's the opposite, a golfer that's too steep. So if you fat the golf ball and struggle maybe with pulls or slices, you're probably in this camp of golfer. And this is the golfer that's too steep on the golf ball. What we'll often see here is a divot that starts again way behind the golf ball, but it's usually really steep and deep. Now, if you are in this camp of golfer, you'll probably see some slice or pull shots, because usually with amateur golfers who fat it that are too steep, they are over the top, where they try and hit it hard, and you can see, look how much that club head is over the top. Or if I look from down the line, they come this way, and then that causes that steepness where we take that divot and we travel left through the golf ball. So if you are in this camp of golfers that are too steep and take this really deep fat divot before the golf ball, then we need to work on shallowing out your golf swing, which we've got loads of videos in this series all about. But very quickly, if you are somebody who's too steep because you're coming over the top, we want to see more of a motion from the top where we shift, then drop the hands more under the shoulders through the golf ball. We hit the golf ball and then the turf after. We've been through the two most common types of impact conditions that we see with amateurs that fat the golf ball. A golfer that's too shallow, often because they don't transfer the weight to the left side. They're trying to help the ball up in the air. We'll see a divot that's really shallow behind the golf ball. And then we've got the golfer that's too steep. Often golfers who slice the golf ball, who fat it, they fall into this category where they're just too steep through that impact zone. And for them, they need to work on that transition move of shifting, dropping the hands under the shoulders through the golf ball and not coming over the top.